Welcome to the chaos sector. You're probably wondering why I have an umbrella. Is it raining? Well, there's a 100% chance of anger in this episode. Halloween Ends has a severe forecast of ranting, which is set to have a heavy ranting for the next week. I'm just preparing for that downpour. After our unofficial review of Halloween Ends, let's move on to other areas of entertainment. Oh, who am I kidding? We can't resist exposing the Derp Fest of this trilogy. Everyone predicted it, and sure enough, they did it. Corey becomes the killer. It's no surprise to me, it falls in place with all the other derpness of this trilogy. You can't fix stupid, because that stupidity in this franchise is rooted in envy. Nothing will make sense, because the franchise was ruined decades ago. We have told you guys this time and time again, the problem is with a single person whose head was too big for her shoulders. I tried to give her the benefit of the doubt, but she deserves the scrutiny. That damned wicked woman in Curtis is responsible for all of this madness. And she doesn't die in the end, just adding insult to injury. Before we get into this, let's allow an individual to rant a little, and then we will express our thoughts on it.
I have to talk about this film and how bad it is. I just saw how Halloween Ends, and holy crap, I have to do a video about it. I cannot explain to you how bad this film was. As a Halloween fan, as a fan of the original 1978 film, I thought this film is probably one of the worst Halloween films. This film makes Halloween Kills look like a Martin Scorsese film. I would rather watch Halloween Resurrection than watch Halloween Ends. Oh my gosh. All right, let's go back to 2018 for a second. I had some problems with the 2018 Halloween film. I think it was decent, but I think there were some parts that were poorly written. But at least it felt like a thought-out movie. They did not think this trilogy out, because Halloween Kills, which takes place directly after Halloween Kills, which takes place directly after Halloween, took place during the same night. This film does not take place during the same night. This film jumps ahead 4 years, and for some reason, Laurie Strode is like Betty Crocker all of a sudden, baking pies, celebrating Halloween, which she would not be celebrating Halloween, and she would not be all, look at me, I'm baking pies!
Exactly. We explained this prior, and how Laurie was depicted as moving on with her life. She had just lost a daughter, to Myers, who was not captured, so obviously he is still lurking out there, right? Yet she's enjoying the festivities of Halloween? Of all holidays, you are celebrating the one that has caused so much pain in your life? They tried to create the nostalgic element of the first film, before Laurie encounters Myers, but at the same damn time, having them engaging over the years of this trilogy. Do you see this crap? They are conflating two different settings within the film's storyline. Let me elaborate on that. In the 1978 film, Laurie Strode is celebrating Halloween as she babysat Tommy Doyle, carving pumpkins, baking cookies, eating popcorn, etc. Although she was aware of a mysterious individual in Myers, Laurie didn't think much of it in general. Until later, of course. In this film, it's the same setting, the only difference is Laurie has already experienced the danger of encountering Myers. This is how they conflate both settings into one scene. Why waste time with such subliminal messaging? Nobody cares.
Laurie Strode is Betty Crocker. She's celebrating Halloween, she's writing a book, she's all happy-go-lucky, she's baking pies, she's like wondering why Allison, who lives with her now, her granddaughter, ever since her parents died, she's living with Laurie now, so she's like, why aren't you going to the Halloween party? You should dress up, you should go with someone. It's like Laurie would not be encouraging her granddaughter to go to a Halloween party, especially when Michael Myers was never caught. Michael Myers was never caught, so why is Laurie all of a sudden this happy-go-lucky chick when it traumatized her for 40 years the first time? All of a sudden, and she's like baking pies and like was all happy-go-lucky and like smiling and stuff. And she's like moving on with her life. And I'm like, if she thought Michael was dead, that would make sense. But Michael's not dead. Michael got away. They never found him. Where is Michael? Where is Michael? He's been hanging out in the sewers for 4 years. I don't know what he's been eating. I don't even know if he eats. I don't know. Has he been eating rats? I don't know. But point is, why didn't he come out for 4 Halloweens? I don't know. Maybe he was scared of COVID or something like that. So he's been hanging out in the sewer for 4 years, all right? And get this, all right? I can't make this up. So Michael Myers is in the sewer for 4 years just chilling. He's just chilling all of a sudden. And the babysitter from the beginning of the film meets up with Allison, and literally, in less than a day, they fall in love. They fall in love and they start having these deep conversations, and they want to run away together, and they're like, this is after a day of knowing each other. They're all of a sudden like loving each other, and there's this really weird moment where Allison is like, when I heard what happened to you, because he went to prison, I think, or like he got off, so he's off for the accidental killing of this kid that he was babysitting. She's like, when I heard what happened to you and how you accidentally killed that kid, I felt like we were connected. I felt like you were calling to me somehow. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm like, that is stupid, lazy, bad writing. I'm like, this is terrible. So a group of bullies come up to him, like Stephen King bullies, and they start bullying him. Meanwhile, these bullies are in high school. They're like 17 years old. This guy is in his 20s, and he gets beaten up, and he gets tossed over a bridge, over into a tunnel where the sewer leads. So he gets dragged into the tunnel by Michael Myers, and then all of a sudden, when he wakes up and tries to escape, Michael Myers chokes him, the babysitter, and looks him dead in the eye, and passes the curse onto him. And then the babysitter becomes the new Michael Myers. I'm being dead serious. Dead serious. The babysitter becomes the new Michael Myers. Now, here's the thing. Michael Myers is not dead. Michael Myers is still in the film. But most of the killing happens because of this babysitter. What? Who thought that was a good idea? It's like, we've already explored this. The whole evil is contagious thing. The whole, we're going to make this supernatural. We're going to make Tommy Doyle. We're going to make Michael Myers' niece freaking the new Michael Myers. They've done this before, and they did it in Season of the Witch as well. And for some reason, they felt like it was a good idea to do that here. To pass the Michael Myers curse, the boogeyman curse, onto this kid. Why did Michael Myers spare him? Michael Myers is choking him, looks him dead in the eyes, and lets him go because he accidentally killed a kid, and all of a sudden he's like worthy enough to like be the new Michael Myers? I'm like, what is this?
Once again, stupidity breeds more stupidity. You can't make sense of something that has a stupid foundation. I will touch on the whole channeling evil aspect later, but let's continue.
He goes up to Michael Myers, fights him, beats him, lays him on the ground, and steals his mask, and then runs out in a jumpsuit, puts on the mask, and he kills a whole group of those Stephen King bullies. He kills the whole group of Stephen King bullies as Michael Myers. He is the new Michael Myers. And this is so stupid, okay? And here's the thing. Michael Myers is still there. Michael Myers actually commits murder with him sometimes. So Michael Myers and this kid are like in cahoots. So there are some times where they fight each other, steals his mask, becomes, freaking Michael Myers. But before that, he freaking commits murder with Michael Myers and actually leads Allison's ex-boyfriend into the sewer so Michael Myers could kill him. And he's like smiling about it and all that shit. And then, which goes against his character because he's so conflicted throughout most of the film. And I'm just like, what is happening? I'm just like, what is happening right now?
I'll tell you what's happening. You are suffering a mental breakdown due to observing something so derp in real time. That's what's happening. Being a sequel to a previous derp film, you can't rationalize derpage. I think they wanted it to be this way. As we stated before, these modern screenwriters do not have the same integrity of yesterday. All they care about is shock value and dollar signs.
Allison is dating this guy for less than 2 days, and they agree to run away together. They're like, we're going to leave Haddonfield together. We're going to run away. And Allison is siding with this guy, this babysitter, who accidentally killed this kid. And he's like, we're going to run away. We're going to be happy. We're blah, 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 blah. And she's like, yeah, we're going to like live together. We're going to start a new life together. And all of a sudden she starts believing this guy over Lori, her own grandmother. And he's like, Lori's trying to kill me. And Allison believes him. And then freaking, here's what happens. This guy, as the new Michael Myers, in the whole Michael Myers regalia, goes to Lori's house, tries to kill her. Lori does this fake suicide, so she pretends to commit suicide by shooting a pumpkin, which causes the brains to splatter, the pumpkin brains to splatter all over the wall. And she's like, and then the new Michael Myers opens the door, and she's like, do you really think I would kill myself? Shoots him like 6 times. He falls over the railing again. This is like the 3rd person to fall over the railing in this entire franchise. And then he hits the ground, he's bleeding, and all of a sudden, Lori comes up on top of him. Lori takes the gun, shoots the wall, empties the gun, throws the gun away, and she's like, you want to kill me? Kill me. I'm like, you had the gun in your hand. Why didn't you just shoot the dude? Why didn't you just do that? But here's what happens. She's like, you'll never have Allison. You'll never have Allison. And he's like, well, if I can't have her, no one can. And he stabs himself in the neck, killing himself. And then freaking Lori takes the knife out of his neck, and guess who walks in at that most convenient time? It's Allison. She walks in and she thinks Lori killed her boyfriend, killed the love of her life that she knew for literally half a day. You know, I guess she just alludes the fact that he was dressed like Michael Myers, whatever. So he's supposedly dead. Lori goes out and she's like, "Oh, I'm so traumatized by what happened. I feel so bad, blah, 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 blah. Allison, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 blah." Allison runs away and all this shit. And all of a sudden, we see footsteps come up to the mask that was obviously taken off of the new guy. He steps up and someone grabs the mask. And you obviously know that this is the real Michael Myers who grabbed the mask. So all of a sudden, before he gets to grab the mask, the freaking dude, the babysitter, comes alive and starts grabbing Michael Myers by the wrist and just starts grabbing him and pushing him around, I guess. He just starts grabbing his wrist and starts like struggling with him, and then Michael Myers gets on top of him and then puts his hand around his neck and snaps his neck. And I'm like, hold up. Let's go back like 20 scenes ago when you stole Michael Myers' mask the first time, you beat him up and overcame him, and all of a sudden now, I know you're dying, but you're the new Michael Myers. You were shot 6 times as well and stabbed in the neck, and you're still alive somehow. But for some reason, Michael Myers kills you all of a sudden now? Why didn't Michael Myers just kill you 20 scenes ago when he was trying to take your mask? What is going on? You know? Freaking...
The fluffy runtime scenes aren't even making sense anymore, they just keep getting more and more derp. If the plot of the film is retarded, then the fluffy scenes will be more and more irrational. Such is the behavior of the characters. One minute they do this, the next minute they do that, contradicting themselves, to justify a following scene. It's so horrible, I truly sympathize with this guy's frustration.
So Michael Myers is now in Lori's house, confronting Lori. This goes against what Halloween Kills told us, which was that Michael Myers is just a killing machine and he does not have this personal revenge against Lori. Lori thinks he does, but he doesn't. He's just a killing machine. The doctor is the person Dr. Sartain is the person who led her to his house, or led him to her house in the first one, in the 2018 version. They set up that Michael Myers does not have a personal vendetta against Lori. Well, I guess he does now, all of a sudden, because he enters the house. I don't know if he sensed the guy's force echo and was like, this is where my mask is, I put my powers into this guy, so now I'm gonna take my powers back, and Lori just happens to be here, or I'm gonna just kill Lori all of a sudden. So Lori and Michael have this showdown, and if the movie was just 5 minutes long, and it was just a showdown between Michael and Lori, I would have enjoyed it so much more. Because the showdown is actually pretty cool in points, but the movie around it is so bad that I couldn't enjoy this final confrontation. And Lori pins Michael to the kitchen island and stabs him right in the chest. Multiple times. She stabs him, and then he gets up right away, pushing her back. So she stabs him. She shot him. The people at the end of Halloween Kills shot him, stabbed him, beat him. And he somehow got away and somehow survived. So he's supernatural, right? Well, Lori pins both of his hands to the kitchen island, pins his legs with the refrigerator. She pushes the refrigerator down on top of his legs, and he's all of a sudden pinned down. And then she takes off his mask and is like, I know now, you're not the boogeyman. You're just a man. And then slits his throat. I'm like, just a man? He literally put his powers into someone else. Gave him the curse. Maybe he didn't give him his superpowers because the kid didn't become like super strength, so maybe saying giving him his powers isn't necessarily the right thing, but he gave him the curse of being like the new Michael Myers, which is just so stupid. And then he survived getting shot a billion times, stabbed, beaten, his fingers blown off. He's survived so much. He's obviously not a man, okay? So what are you talking about? He's just a man. And you slice his throat and then slit his wrists. And all of a sudden, Michael Myers is dead. So as Michael Myers has his throat slit, I believe this is the chain of events that happened. I can't remember if Lori slit his throat after or before this happened. Either way, it's stupid. He starts choking Lori while being pinned down. He takes his hand out of the knife by sliding his fingers through it and chokes her. And then she's like, do it. Kill me. And then there are flashbacks to the far superior 1978 version of Halloween. All of a sudden he's choking her, and then Allison comes running in, and she's like, no! And it's such an awkward shot. She's like, no! And then grabs Michael's arm and breaks it over the kitchen island. And I'm like, you just broke Michael Myers' arm. This guy's like super strong, he's supernatural, and you just break his arm? I'm like, what are you talking about? So, anyway, they strap Michael Myers to the hood of their car, or to the roof of their car, sorry, and drive him around town. So all the townsfolks are like, okay, Michael Myers is dead. So all the townsfolk gather around and they want to witness Michael Myers being dead. So what Laurie does is she pushes they go to a junkyard and she pushes Michael Myers into a grinder, literally causing his body to like grind up and just dissolve into nothingness. So Michael Myers is not coming back, apparently. So this is the end of Michael Myers. So, and then cut a little bit later and Allison leaves Haddonfield. And then it cuts to Laurie, and Laurie had this kind of pseudo relationship with this other gentleman, and they had this romance, and then like he dropped something off at her door, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you," blah 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 blah, and then the movie freaking ends, dude. It's so freaking bad, and I'm just like, what were they thinking? This movie sucks. But I had to do a video about this movie. It was that bad.
Wow, I was worried for a moment, thought the guy might break a glass or something, he was so pissed off. Let me point out something, before we dig into it. Some may claim that the film was decent, and they liked the plot twist, such and such. But honestly, they are not genuine fans of the franchise. Real fans have complaints such as what you've heard. While die-hard fans, such as Zarin, don't really have any genuine complaints about the film, because she knows this was exactly how it would progress in the retcon. To her, it's not even an official Halloween film, and I agree. First off, Michael Myers is somewhere lurking around, in some sewage tunnel. It's not that bad honestly, he would reside in such secluded areas to prevent being spotted. But, the way they introduced Corey was so forced, it just screams fake Halloween film. Corey coincidentally, out of all places, lands himself in the very sewage tunnel Myers is hanging out in. You know what, these coincidental elements must have some sort of symbolic meaning to them. There are entirely too many aspects of coincidences within the plot of this trilogy. Maybe it represents the entire trilogy, a big coincidence into film production, right? I would say so. Corey encounters Myers, Myers grabs him, stares into his eyes, and for some explained reason, Myers channels his evil into Corey. Where the hell did this come from? Don't know why. Yes, they needed Myers to display a power that he never displayed at any point, to justify Corey becoming the, you know what? I can't do this. It's frustrating in even being sarcastic. Create such a horrible film, then follow up with a sequel, and ironically more people will go watch the sequel. This is in the hopes that the sequel will be better, yet if the previous film was horrible, what makes you think the sequel to the horrible film will be better? It's the same storyline, essentially the same plot in the film, the same characters, and their roles, nothing will get better. It doesn't matter if new characters are introduced, that only congests the storyline into more derptation. Corey becoming the new Myers has been alluded to prior to the premiere, so that was not a surprise. Yet let's touch on a few things regarding those key points. First, it's not a bad concept to have a new killer, it's the way you introduce the new character into the storyline. Second, Laurie Strode survives, but Myers dies, oh okay yeah. And that's how the franchise ends, Curtis being the center of attention at the end. How freaking disgusting, Myers didn't deserve to die, if Laurie Strode survives. If anything, since Myers is a senior citizen, just have him fade off. And this is how we know Curtis didn't genuinely care about Halloween, she only cared about her role as Laurie Strode. How can you not care about the franchise that your character stars in? Ask her, because that's exactly what happened. If she actually cared about the franchise, she would have used her influence to convince the screenwriters to have Myers fade away into the night as Old Man. Since Corey is now the killer, right? If Myers is taking a backseat to a babysitter in the end, then honor his legacy by having him gracefully vanish off into the darkness. But no, they want to savagely kill Myers, as Laurie Strode stands triumphant against a killer who did not target her specifically in the storyline? How does she deserve that triumphant ending when the storyline is based on coincidental, you know what, I'm done. Zarin will be back with her take. This is the Chaos Sector, Film Reviews.